Tonight we really do take part in a very, very ancient practice in the church. This goes back almost to the very beginning. And that practice of keeping vigil, which basically it's a way of staying up really late waiting for something to happen. And oddly enough, in the instructions for the Easter Vigil, which is considered the holiest night of the year, it basically says if you happen to start before midnight, which you can start anytime after dark, basically. The assumption is that we're going to be out of Mass before sunrise, and I'm really sure that's going to happen because my bedtime was 2 hours ago. But one of the things we always watch for, within all of the readings, we stay up late, we listen to the readings, we probably zone in and out a little bit because that's how the human brain works. But the thing is that whenever we hear all of the readings that are we used them all tonight because we can. But when we look through all of the readings, one of the things we notice is that it basically is the story of salvation. This is the story of how God saved human beings, how God saved us from this mess of sin and death we had gotten ourselves into. And I think it's kind of an interesting little tidbit that God's first act of saving mankind was creation. We know that after God created human beings, in those first days of creation, it only took us, in the book of Genesis, it only took us 3 or 4 more verses before we messed this whole thing up. From the very moment of creation, God was already working for our good. He was already working to bring us into heaven, even before we happened to mess this thing up. And this news is too good to be true. Now, these last 40 days, we've been walking through Lent, just really watching and meditating and praying with Jesus' crucifixion, with his suffering, with his death. His suffering, both external, which is physical, and his internal suffering, both spiritual and mental. He suffered all of that out of love for us. But it's always good to know that Good Friday and all of Lent is always followed by Easter Sunday and the season of Easter. Lent is 40 days, the Easter season is 50. The celebration is always bigger than the penance. This is good news. This is why throughout the Gospels we hear that it was too good of news for the apostles to believe. It was too good to hear that the Lord had risen from the dead. Even though he told them 37 times, well, probably more than that, but he told them a ton of times that he was going to die and rise from the dead. It was too good to believe. It was too good to understand. Because what Jesus' resurrection is, it's really that hope that we have for eternal life, eternal salvation. This news is too good to keep to ourselves. Now, every year at every Easter Vigil, I've always loved that image of the Paschal candle coming in. There's no other light in the church. Ours got started a little late today, but it caught up to us. When the Easter candle is coming in, that flame, the light of Christ, is the only light visible in the church. And then it's shared from the Easter candle to everybody else. And in 19 years and change as a priest, another year as a deacon, and a bunch of years of seminary helping out with this sort of thing, in all of those close to 30 years of doing churchy type stuff, not once have I ever seen anybody have to give instructions on what to do with the flame. Because that symbolism is really good for us. It's just so accurate because it's because plus fire is cool. I see fire, I want that fire too. It's the same thing with the love of Christ. When the world around us sees us really living out the faith, it's attractive. There's something about that joy and that peace that comes with Christian living that the world wants. So this really is part of the challenge of Easter, to really reflect and to really just rejoice in the Lord's resurrection, and then to leave here and share that joy, that peace, and the news of salvation with the world.